What we see in the Middle East, we see actually the same drones that are attacking Kiev every day, now attacking also the Middle East. And there actually also Ukraine can help the Gulf countries because they have developed really, drone interceptors and drone protection. So we can see also how we can put these things together to help the countries to fight back the drone attacks. So this is the essence of our discussion today.
Can you tell us how the European Union, what the European Union could provide to the GCC community in terms of security, maritime safety, for example? And if you don't mind, how worried are you that this war may lead to the fragmentation of Iran as a country?
Maritime security, we are extremely worried about this, and that's why also European naval assets have been sent to the region, because the security of the Strait of Hormuz and the trade routes is extremely important also for European Union, but also for the Gulf countries. So we are trying to keep these trade routes open. This is what we are doing regarding the naval mission. And your other question?
My second question is, there are some groups who are getting arms. How worried are you that this war may lead to the fragmentation of the country?
Well, every time when we have seen these wars before in the Middle East, we have also seen that it doesn't go that easy. That one day there's war and the next day there's democracy. So clearly the risks are there. When we talk to the countries in the region, they are also worried about civil wars inside Iran because of the regime's leadership and what is going on there. So of course we can't tell. Nobody can tell how does it really go, but the risks are clearly there.
The Iranian regime will actually be toppled thanks to the US and Israeli-led war effort.
Well, usually the regimes are crumbling from inside, not from attacks from outside. But of course, the regime has been considerably weakened, so it gives also the opportunities for the Iranian people to actually decide their own future.
Solidarity with the Gulf countries, but do you think there's enough solidarity between EU members, particularly Germany and Spain?
We are in this European Union with 27 countries, and we have been solidar before in different types of crises that we have. So, of course, we might have different views on things, but in the end, I think the solidarity between member states is very clear.
What's impact on Ukraine, this situation, on the supply of air defense, on sanction, oil price, all this stuff?
Yes, there is clear impact on the war on Ukraine as well, because there is defense capabilities that are needed in Ukraine now, moving also to the Middle East. There is also the issue of supply chains, of supplying the capabilities that Ukraine needs now, also the Middle East needs when it comes to air defense, for example. And there is also the issue of the oil price. So the oil price, when it goes up, it actually benefits Russia to fund its war, and that's why we have to really push through the maritime services ban, that we can really curtail the shadow fleet and the oil revenues that Russia has to fund its war.
Because of the crisis in the Middle East, if the new wave of refugee came in Europe, are you ready to take them?
We had Monday also discussion in the college about different aspects. How does it influence Europe? And one of the aspects was also the migration pressure. We don't see it yet, but clearly, if the war drags on, the risks of migratory pressure on Europe will increase, and we have to be prepared. That's why we are also talking to other countries that we are cooperating with.
How difficult is it now to find common ground, and have a strategy on how to handle the situation?
Well, just on Sunday, when we had the Foreign Affairs meeting, we were able to come to a common decision by 27 member states. Right now, we are negotiating the common statement with European member states and the Gulf countries, which is, of course, harder. But I think what is our common view is that we want stability in the region. We want that this war does not go any further, and we want the respect of international law.
The situation in the Middle East has a great impact on the energetic system of the entire European continent, but it also has an impact on Moldova's energetic system. Today, in Moldova starts an alarming state in the energetic situation. How is Europe to approach the energetic security entirely, and in particular for Moldova as a candidate?
I hope that the Commissioner for Energy will actually share also with the wider public that we are not dependent on the oil that is coming from the Gulf states. So it doesn't have that impact on us when it comes to security of supply. But of course, if the market prices are rising, then it has impact more widely. But right now we don't see that yet. So there is no room for panicking.
The risk for arms supplies for Ukraine, how huge is this risk? How will it be?
Well, you see that everybody has the need for air defense, so that Ukraine has the need. Also, the Middle Eastern countries have the need. When it comes to also the drone interceptors, there is a need in both of these wars. So there is really problem with the production. We need to also do more on the European side and really speed up. When it comes to drones and drone interceptor drones, then Ukraine has really been able to produce a lot and can also share this knowledge with the Gulf countries to boost this production. So, of course, we are looking into this, but I'm worried that, just the capabilities are limited, and that's why it will have an impact also on different wars.
About the diplomacy, because since the first meeting you said we have to explore the diplomatic options. Do you see any diplomatic space when taking into consideration that you are still in contact with Iran? And second, the French president announced that maybe a coalition to save the maritime security. Is it built on Aspides or same kind of something like this?
Yes. So on the maritime security, we have two missions. We have Operation Atalanta and Aspides that are in the region, but of course right now, they are not in the Strait of Hormuz. So the European naval assets and the are really coordinating to have the protection of also Strait of Hormuz, so that we have the trade routes. What comes to diplomatic outreach, then it's clear that wars really end in diplomacy, and there has to be room for diplomacy here to really get out of this cycle of escalation.
Is the EU offering any concrete aid to? So is the EU offering any concrete aid to the Gulf countries?
Well, we are discussing this today. One of the things is the drone interceptors that, Ukraine is also offering. What we are saying to the Gulf countries is also to have the contacts with Ukraine and President Zelensky, how they can work together. I have had also calls with Gulf countries, and they have been really surprised how much Ukraine is helping them in this regard, keeping in mind that they are under heavy attacks all the time. And maybe the support hasn't been really, two-way street, but one-way street. But maybe it changes actually from this day on.
Nothing from the EU side of that?
No, from the EU side, we are providing, of course, support to get the civilians protected and the consular support and what we can do. But in terms of what more can we do, we are discussing this today. What are their needs as well, where we can come.
Georgia is not on agenda, but I have to ask you, because yesterday Georgian Dream adopted the most repressive amendments to law against the civil society, media, even against the business. So what's your estimation on this move?
Yes, well, adopting these laws is extremely regrettable, and it shows that Georgian government is really not going on the right track when it comes to the European accession.
How concerned are you about President Trump's threats towards Spain, and what do you expect from the other member states how to deal with this threat?
Trade is a European competence, so we have a trade deal with the United States that was signed in June, so we hope that the United States also respects this agreement that applies to all the member states.
And
thank you very much.
About priorities,
tegema, et karistada Venemaa liitlast Iraani, kas Euroopa peaks kuidagi selles osalema?
No meie soov on kindlasti see, et see sõda ei laieneks kuhugi kaugemale ja see on selge, et praegu Iraan üritab seda sõda eksportida ka teistesse laheriikidesse, mis ei ole meie huvides. Nii et me üritame seda situatsiooni ikkagi kuidagi rahustada.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.